Most people are told that invasive plants are nothing but a problem, something to spray, pull, and pay someone to haul away. But a quiet group of small farmers and homesteaders across the United States have figured out something that landowners spending thousands on removal crews never stop to consider. This plant, the one your neighbor is trying to get rid of, is actually one of the most protein-rich, livestock-friendly free feed sources growing wild in America right now. In this video, I'm sharing 3 practical ways to harvest it, feed it, and even turn it into a small income stream without a big operation or expensive equipment. If you're someone who wants a more self-sufficient, productive farm life with less waste and more direction, this content is for you. I post calm, practical ideas like this every week, and following along means you won't have to search for clarity again. It'll just show up. I'm really glad you found your way here. Let's start. The plant we're talking about today is called Kudzu. If you've spent any time in the American South or driven through states like Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, or Virginia, you've seen it. It's the vine that swallows everything. It climbs telephone poles, drapes over trees, and covers entire hillsides in thick, lush green. From a distance, it almost looks beautiful. Up close, landowners want it gone. Kudzu was originally brought to the United States from Japan and China in the late 1800s. It was promoted at garden shows used for porch shade, and later in the 1930s and 40s, the federal government actually encouraged farmers to plant it to control soil erosion. Millions of acres were seeded with it across the Southeast. Then something unexpected happened. The plant didn't stop. In the warm, humid American South, Kudzu found conditions more favorable than anything it had encountered in its native Asia. Without the natural predators and environmental pressures that kept it in check back home, it began spreading at a rate of roughly 100,000 acres per year. Today, it covers an estimated 7 million acres of land across the eastern United States, and it has earned the nickname, the vine that ate the South. Counties list it as a noxious weed. Landowners hire crews to remove it. Some states have programs dedicated entirely to its management. The cost of controlling Kudzu in the United States runs into the hundreds of millions of dollars every single year. And yet, here is what almost nobody in those removal conversations is saying out loud. Kudzu is a legume. That matters more than most people realize. Legumes are the plant family that includes clover, alfalfa, and soybeans, 3 of the most valued, most nutritious, and most purchased forage crops in American agriculture. The same biological family that farmers pay premium prices for at feed stores is growing freely, aggressively even, across millions of acres of American land, often going completely to waste. That is the quiet truth behind this plant. And once you see it that way, it is genuinely difficult to unsee. Let's talk about the nutritional case and what's actually inside Kudzu, because this is where the story becomes genuinely life-changing for anyone running a small farm or homestead on a real-world budget. Kudzu leaves and young vines are remarkably nutrient-dense. The crude protein content of fresh Kudzu foliage sits between 15 and 29% depending on the time of season and the age of the plant at harvest. To put that in perspective, good quality alfalfa hay, widely considered the gold standard of livestock forage and priced accordingly at feed stores, typically delivers between 15 and 22% crude protein. Kudzu harvested at the right time matches or exceeds that benchmark. And Kudzu costs nothing to plant, nothing to irrigate, and nothing to fertilize. Beyond protein, Kudzu contains meaningful levels of calcium and phosphorus, 2 minerals that are essential for healthy bone development, milk production, and reproductive health in livestock. These are the same minerals that farmers routinely supplement in commercial feed rations at additional cost. Digestibility is another important factor, and Kudzu performs well here too. Ruminant animals like cattle, goats, and sheep, whose digestive systems are built for breaking down fibrous plant material, process Kudzu efficiently. Studies conducted at agricultural universities in the southeastern United States have confirmed that Kudzu is palatable and well tolerated by these animals, with no significant adverse effects when introduced appropriately into the diet. The list of animals that will eat Kudzu willingly is broad. Cattle, goats, sheep, pigs, and even backyard chickens and ducks will consume the leaves and soft vines. This makes it one of the rare forage options with genuine cross-species utility on a diversified small farm. For seniors and retirees managing a family homestead on a fixed income, the financial case alone is worth sitting with. Every pound of kudzu your animals eat is a pound of purchased feed you didn't need to buy. Over a full growing season, that adds up to a real sustainable reduction in operating costs quietly, without drama, and without any additional investment. This one matters because it solves a quiet problem most small farmers live with every single day: the rising cost of keeping animals fed without adding more pressure, more spending, or more complexity to an already full life. The reason this works is straightforward. Kudzu grows whether you tend it or not. It requires no planting, no watering, and no fertilizer from you. By harvesting it on a simple schedule, you are essentially redirecting a resource that nature is already producing in abundance and doing your land a favor at the same time. Because controlled harvesting actively slows kudzu spread. To start, all you need is the ability to identify kudzu on or near your property. Kudzu leaves are large, broad, and come in groups of 3, similar in shape to bean leaves. The vines are thick and woody at the base, becoming softer and more pliable toward the growing tips. If you have any doubt, take a photo and run it through a free plant identification app or bring a sample to your local agricultural extension office. Once you know what you're looking at, you're ready. What you're doing is simply cutting the leafy vines, focusing on the younger, softer growth at the tips where protein concentration is highest. Use a pair of garden shears, a sickle, or even a sharp knife. No machinery required. Cut in the morning if possible when the plant's moisture content is at its peak. Avoid harvesting from areas that have been sprayed with herbicide or that sit alongside busy roads where chemical runoff is a concern. If you're harvesting from a neighbor's land, get clear verbal or written permission first. It protects you and builds a relationship that often leads to ongoing, mutually beneficial arrangements. To keep it going, focus on just one thing. Establish a simple, rotational cutting schedule. Return to the same area every 3 to 4 weeks during the growing season, typically late spring through late fall in most southern and mid-Atlantic states. Kudzu regrows rapidly, so you will rarely run short of material. That consistent rhythm is enough to maintain a steady, productive supply without overwhelming yourself. Over time, this doesn't just reduce your feed costs, it changes how your farm days feel. Less scrambling for affordable feed, more confidence in your ability to sustain your animals naturally, a little more calm in your operation, and a little more pride in running something genuinely self-sufficient. A small thing that makes this even easier is drying and storing excess cuttings as a loose hay substitute for winter feeding. You don't need special equipment, just a clean, dry surface and good airflow. Spread the cuttings in the sun for 2 to 3 days, turn them once or twice, and store in breathable bags or a dry shed. It's a rare but highly productive strategy that most small farmers never think to try, and it extends the value of your summer harvest well into the colder months when fresh forage is scarce. Which livestock benefit most? This matters because it solves a quiet problem many farmers face when introducing any new feed source: not knowing which animals will actually thrive on it and which might struggle. Making the wrong assumption can cause time, stress, and animal health setbacks that nobody wants. The reason this works is rooted in biology. Kudzu is a legume, and legumes are precisely what ruminant digestive systems are designed to process efficiently. Ruminants, animals that chew their cud and ferment plant material in a multi-chambered stomach, extract protein and nutrients from leafy legumes with impressive efficiency. This isn't a workaround or a compromise. It's a nutritional match that nature already supports. To start, introduce kudzu gradually into the diet of goats or cattle first. They are your best initial candidates. Goats in particular are natural browsers, meaning they instinctively seek out and enjoy leafy, varied plant material. They take to kudzu quickly, often with no resistance at all. Cattle follow closely behind, especially in regions where kudzu grows alongside other pasture grasses they already know. What you're doing is simply blending kudzu with your animal's existing forage at roughly a 30 to 50% ratio in the beginning. This gives the digestive system time to adjust to the new protein load without causing bloat or loose stools. which can occasionally occur when ruminants are introduced too quickly to rich legume sources. The transition period is usually 2 to 3 weeks, after which most animals handle kudzu at higher ratios without any issue. To keep it going, monitor your animal's body condition scores during the transition. A simple visual and hands-on assessment of fat cover and muscle tone that any experienced farmer or local vet can walk you through. As animals adapt and scores remain healthy, you can increase the kudzu ratio in their diet with confidence. Over time, the payoff is visible and real. Animals on a healthy, natural protein-rich diet show better coat condition, stronger energy levels, and more productive weight gain or milk output. For a family farm, that means more value from the same animals without a higher feed investment. A small but important tip: goats are the most efficient kudzu consumers of any common livestock animal. They can be used deliberately as a biological management tool, grazing targeted areas of kudzu growth to keep it contained while simultaneously converting that invasive plant into healthy body weight and, on dairy operations, into milk. This dual-purpose approach is one of the rare, genuinely life-changing systems available to small landowners that cost almost nothing to implement. If this is helpful so far, go ahead and give it a like. It tells the platform to share this with other farmers and homesteaders who need it. And I want to hear from you. Do you have kudzu growing on or near your property? Or have you ever fed it to your animals? Drop it in the comments below. I actually read every single one, and your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. This matters because it solves a quiet problem that many seniors and retirees managing land on a fixed income know deeply: the gap between what the land could be doing and what it's actually producing. Most of the time, that gap isn't about effort. It's about not knowing which low-investment sustainable opportunities are sitting right there already growing. The reason this works is simple economics. Urban homesteaders, small-scale goat and rabbit keepers, and hobby farmers who don't have access to land are actively looking for affordable, natural, chemical-free forage. Commercial alfalfa prices have climbed steadily in recent years, and shipping costs make bulk hay purchases expensive for people operating at a small scale. A local source of high-quality, protein-rich forage at a reasonable price fills a genuine need in that market, and you're already sitting on the supply. To start, simply harvest more kudzu than your own livestock requires during peak growing season, typically June through September, across most of the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic. You don't need to dramatically expand your harvesting operation. Even an extra hour or two per week of cutting during that window can produce meaningful surplus. What you're doing is sun-drying the extra cuttings into loose hay. Spread them on a clean tarp or dry ground in full sun. Turn them once daily for 2 to 3 days and store in breathable feed bags, burlap sacks, or a dry corner of your barn. Label them clearly: natural kudzu forage, chemical-free. You have a product that speaks directly to what health-conscious, small-scale animal keepers are looking for. To keep it going, list your surplus locally. Facebook farm groups, neighborhood apps, Craigslist farm and garden sections, and local farmers markets are all productive starting points. Pricing in line with local hay rates or slightly below, since kudzu is less well-known, makes it an easy sell. Repeat buyers are common once people see their animals responding well to it. Over time, what started as a free feed solution quietly becomes a productive, low-effort side income. There is no seed cost, no land preparation, no irrigation, and no fertilizer expense. Your only real investment is time, and even that is modest for the return it can generate on a consistent seasonal basis. A practical tip worth knowing: contact your local agricultural extension office and ask whether your county has an invasive species management program that includes kudzu. Some counties and conservation districts in states like Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina actively partner with landowners who are willing to harvest and manage kudzu on their property. In some cases, these partnerships come with modest financial incentives, technical support, or access to resources that make your operation more productive at no additional cost to you. It is a rare but genuinely worthwhile conversation to have, and one that positions you as a responsible, forward-thinking landowner in your community. Here is something that most people miss, and it matters more than adding any new habit, tool, or system to your routine. The single biggest thing standing between most small farmers and a more self-sufficient, productive operation is not a lack of resources. It is the quiet friction of assuming that getting started requires more than it actually does. With Kudzu, and honestly with most underutilized land resources, people delay because they're waiting for the right equipment, the right season, the right amount of time, or a formal plan. That delay is the only real cost. Remove that one friction point. You do not need a tractor, a baler, or a large-scale operation to benefit from everything covered in this video. A good pair of gloves, a cutting tool, and a willingness to take one small imperfect step this week is genuinely enough to start. That first cutting dried and fed to even one animal is the beginning of a real system. The farmers who build the most sustainable, healthy, and self-sufficient operations are rarely the ones with the most resources. They are the ones who consistently lower the barrier to starting and then just begin. That single shift in approach often makes everything else feel easier, clearer, and far more within reach than it looked from a distance. You don't need to overhaul your entire operation to build something more self-sufficient and sustainable. You just need one steady direction and the willingness to take one honest step toward it this week. Pick one idea from today's video and try it imperfectly, simply, and without waiting for the perfect moment. That is how real lasting progress starts on a working farm and in a working life. If this story changed how you look at the invasive vines in your garden, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the history and the potential that others have tried to bury. Let's plant the seeds for a self-reliant future together. The next hidden treasure of the land will be revealed soon.